everybody, it's Terry. Let's make this cute little joy sign out of some paint stir sticks, which I probably got from Walmart. I did get some from Lowe's once, but generally get them at Walmart. And a wicker basket that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I've only ever seen those once, and it was a Dollar Tree that I'd never been to before. But anyway, so I'm going to make a template out of the paper for the letters J and Y. But I got way ahead of myself and I realized that I do need to know what size they need to be. So that's me with my mind working backwards. So I'm showing you the staple gun and some rope, which I do not end up using. Not really any place to use them. So the paint stir sticks generally are around 17 inches long, right under the handle. So instead of me trying to figure out what's the midpoint between 17 and 2/8 or a quarter, that'd be a quarter. Trying to figure out a halfway point, it was easier for me to just say, well, I'm just going to make these 8.5 inches. So that's what I did. So I made the marks at 8.5 inches. For each set there. So I'll have 6 pieces. And instead of leaving them together like they come packaged, I go ahead and tape them. That way they don't slip. I know that that they're steady, they're not going to slip while I'm cutting them or whatever. Because I do, for something like this, I do use my scroll saw because it doesn't make as much noise as my miter saws, my big miter saw. So I'm just showing you that they have a little bow in them, which is no big deal. So anyways, I'm going to cut them and then sand the rough edges down and try to get all the splinters off. I didn't do the best job, but it did pretty good. A couple of the ends, when you cut with a scroll saw, you got to keep it straight, and it's a little bit difficult. Cranberry from Apple Barrel. My dog's down here bothering me. This is the second time now. I had to shut the first time off when I was doing the voiceover because he wouldn't stop crying. But it's raining outside and he's got to go. And when I let him out, he ran out real quick and did number 1, came back in, and now he's probably realizing that he needed to do number 2. But I'm not sure what his deal is. So if you hear him, I apologize. He's being good right now, but he made me go upstairs for nothing. He wouldn't go out. So anyways, I use this cranberry, and I know that this camera doesn't do it justice. It's a very bright red. It looks kind of orangish here. So I paint them all, and I'm still don't have it quite into my skull yet that I can't do the letters until I know how big they need to be. So what I was going to do is I was going to cut the paper down, and then again I realized, hey, how about if we just cut this piece out and then go from there. So my plan was to make this big enough to do a big J and a big Y and maybe even an O out of it. I think originally I was going to do the J, O, and Y all out of wicker, but I realized that would be too big. So I realized I could fit the J and the Y both onto the one side. Now we're going to use a lot of hot glue on this to keep it from falling apart. We don't want it to fall apart. So I measured, and I needed it to be around 2.5 inches in order to fit onto the sign. So I tried to stay within that. I think I said 2 inches and it ended up being 2.5 inches. So I just do a sketch, and the best thing about pencil, when you sketch, you just do it very lightly, and if you make a mistake, you erase it and you try again. And you can do that as many times as you need to until you get the shape that you want. Not real big on sketching on something that I've already made or whatever where I can mess it up. I'm not real big on that. But, blank paper, I just don't have the confidence, I guess, to do it. But on blank paper, it turns out pretty good because you can just erase. And here I'm making sure that it's the same size as the J. So it's about 2.5 inches is what I end up with. And it's a little wonky. My Y ends up a little wonky. It's a little more curved on one side than it is on the other. But it's still fine. It's good. It's all good. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's homemade. So, go ahead and cut them out. And then when we get ready to glue them onto the wicker, we're going to use a lot of hot glue. I should have used more than what I actually used. You really want to cover that whole letter because it's got to hold the wicker down. The wicker's going to start to fall apart as we cut it, and we need to stop and glue those little pieces on as we go. But here I'm cutting the letters out. Then I'm going to, I don't think I go straight to the wicker after this. I think I mess around more with my wood slats, and I end up not digging the color of the wood slats because they're just a little bit too bright. So I thought, well, let me try a little bit of antique wax on them, and I did that, and it dulled it out and really did make it look more antiqued. And then I really liked the color after I did that. I didn't care much for the bright red color, but this camera is notoriously bad for making the reds look terrible. I had flag red this summer, making things with flag red, and I would look on the camera and it'd look orange. So there, I like that look so much better. So yeah, I did, while I was waiting for these to dry, that's when I cut out my paper letters. And then now I'm going to do the antique, and then wait for that to dry, and then I will cut the letters out on the wicker. And my dog's back down here staring at me. I mean, he has penetrating eyeballs, just staring deeply. And he'll whine here in a minute if I don't look at him. I don't know what he wants me to do. I can't make it not rain. But anyways, I really love this color after I put the antique wax on it, Waverly Antique Wax. I really think it looks good. Dulled it down nicely, and you can, and I, by not overcoating with the paint, you can still see the wood grain through it. So here I did not use enough hot glue. You should have used a lot more. I said you should have used. I should have used a lot more hot glue than what I used. I should have really, really overdone it on here. But I did have the foresight to go ahead and glue around it. And I really, put a lot of glue around the letters before I try to cut them out. Because I knew that wicker was going to try to fall apart on me. And it did. So if you do this, make sure that you use a lot of glue to hold that wicker together. And it's not a big deal. Once it starts to fall, a piece starts to come off, just stop and glue it back on. And it did fine. It did a lot better. Once I started cutting, I started worrying about it because the slats were moving. But once I got going on it, it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to. I thought it was just going to fall apart on me. And then I thought, well, no big deal. And I'll just, do something else. My dog finally laid down. It's right behind me, though. He normally doesn't. He usually guards the doorway. He's upset with me. So, anyways, when you're dealing with a sharp, razor knife like that, just be very careful. Um, I was pushing down hard with the tip, and then, poking through the wicker, and then lightening up as I pulled. So I wasn't giving it a full, dig down deep and then yank it towards myself. I was going very slow. And see, when a piece just starts to fall off, you just stop, glue it down. Hot glue worked great for this. I don't think I'd want to use any other kind of glue because hot glue's instant. It holds it down instantly. And it's a really good hold. So yep, just cut it out a little bit, put your pieces together if you need to. I only had to do it a couple times. Just a couple pieces of it came off. Some of it would start to come off, but as soon as I would get it cut through, it was okay. It was the longer pieces attached to it that were causing the problems. I know that probably doesn't make sense if you haven't done it, but anyways, I just keep doing it, checking it on the other side to make sure that it's not totally falling apart on me. Oh, and if you want to put your letters on backwards, that was the most important thing I should have said. Make sure that your letters are on backwards because we're going to be using the opposite side of this. So yeah, I guess it's the mirrored effect. So we put them on backwards than how we want them to be shown, because that's our back side right there that we're looking at. Yeah, I should have told you that. Anyway, another piece came loose. Just pick it up a little bit, glue it down. But it's still, like I said, it came along nicely. It wasn't that hard to do. It was that I just took the knife to push that glue down inside there, get it up underneath there. And it looks okay. I mean, it's different. I wanted to do something a little different, and I thought, I like the look of that wicker, but I've had that basket down here for months and months. And I just got to thinking, what can I do with that that's kind of unconventional? And then I thought, well, wait a minute, why can't I just use pieces of it for something? And, I mean, everybody's doing the joy. I absolutely love the word joy because it's a happy word. It's not believe, because some people don't believe. It's not, I don't know, what else is there? Peace. Peace is a good word. But peace is a lot more letters than joy. But joy, joy is a good word. If you don't have joy, you don't have much. So I was pretty happy when that letter came out. The J came out a lot easier than the Y did. It looks like a disaster when you see me pulling those big pieces off there, but I'm sitting here on the, looking at it thinking, well, I know it came out good, even though it looks like it didn't. See that long piece in the center there? That was causing me trouble. So all I had to do was just poke it, and it came right off. And then there's a piece that came off, and I just glued it right back on there. Same way it came off. And it turned out pretty good. I thought about doing paper and twine, which I will probably do before the season's over. I wish I would have showed the Y for a little bit longer, but see, I'm looking at a little screen on my editor. It's real small, and I think if you're on the YouTube screen, especially if you're on the big screen, you'll be able to see that a lot better than I can. But it turns out pretty good. I thought the J was going to be really hard, but it wasn't. It turned out it was fairly easy to do. I'd already had the experience from the Y though, also, but yeah. So I had to glue some pieces on and then go back in, cut the one piece off. There they are. So I took an ornament from a package that I got from Michael's, and there's my Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I painted it white, but then I thought, well, maybe I can use the antique wax on that. I don't know why. I was thinking, oh, it's gonna look cool or whatever, but it turns out I did not like that at all, so I ended up repainting that white again. Okay, so you get the slats the way that you want them, then you flip them upside down because we're going to put the twine on now. I decided to use twine. So once you get them spaced the way that you want them, I took some masking tape and laid the tape easily down as not to move any of them, and then got my twine out. And then your glue, you want your glue from end to end on the boards, on every board. You want it to go end to end. You don't want to just put a dot on it. You want it to go all the way so the rope sticks from the bottom to the top. If you don't, you get a weird hanging. It doesn't hang straight or flops. I'm not sure how to say it. But just make sure that your glue goes from bottom to top, top to bottom, whatever, on that slat. Just make sure that the line goes all the way across. And once you get your tape on there, it's pretty sturdy. You don't have to worry too much about moving them. But of course, you don't want to get on there and really mess with them. So, okay, so now I had a heck of a time with this. I wanted To the World in my ornament, and I had this really cool font, and I couldn't get the lines on the T's, to and the, and it kept plucking them off, and I kept plugging them back on, and then I got down and I just wadded up and threw it away. I got so frustrated with this thing. Because the first time I tried it, I didn't curve it, so it didn't fit on the ball. The second time I curved it, but it wasn't enough. It was too big. And then the third time, so I started to show it, but I forgot to cut that out at the end of that. Showing you on my Cricut here. Well, anyway, here's where I do the wax, which didn't turn out good. But anyways, it was like the fourth time I tried to get the To the World on there that it finally worked out. So I totally hated this, and then I tried one with just the antique wax, just going for the the wood grain look, and which it turned out looking good, but I didn't like it. So I just went back to white, and then here's my To the World. And it's a good thing that it was really small. I didn't waste that much vinyl, but I did. I screwed it up 3 good times before I finally got it right. That's what happens when you don't use something for a while. Like my Cricut sit down here, and sometimes I just don't have the need, to use it that often. And then, I get on there and I forgot to curve it because the ball, the ornament's obviously curved. And yada yada yada. I was so frustrated by the time I was done, but the end result, after I get some florals on here, the end result, paid off. But boy, oh boy, was I ever frustrated. And I got that ornament. Oh, that's another thing. I painted the ornament white, and as soon as I got it painted, my dog came up and she's like a cat. And she stuck her head right between my legs, right at my bum area there behind me. And it freaked me out so bad I dropped that ornament face down, paint down onto the carpet. And yeah, I brought it up and it had fuzz from the carpet and some dog hair in it. Oh, I was so frustrated. But you know what, I kept going. Just like my life, I just keep going. Just kept going. Till, I kept going until I got it, the way I wanted it. So, I wasn't a big fan of it. I thought about cutting the top off the ornament part of that ball, and then I thought, no, I'll just put a nice bow on it. And it seems like I had trouble with the bow. Oh, I did. I got a snag on my finger, like it had glue or something on the tip of my finger, and I ended up pulling the bow apart. It was a frustrating adventure. So anyways, I'm just making a small bow to go on top of that ornament. I do like the backside too. I almost turned the bow around and used the backside because it looks really good. And that's Dollar Tree. That's all Dollar Tree ribbon. So anytime I cut a string off, I hot glue to keep it from unraveling, to keep it from coming unknotted. So after I get my little messy bow there, I look at it and I'm thinking, that looks cute. But no, I went ahead and put it down. And then I put the little shoestring bow on top. And they say all's well that ends well, right? So here I think I'm pulling a piece of glue off and it was actually a piece of the string. And I completely untied my shoestring bow, but there it is, all nice and done. I like the messy bows the best. Now I seem to be okay at making bows, so it's not a problem of making the bows, but sometimes I don't think, like I'll make a big bow and then I'll be like, no, it just don't look right. I'm not a flashy bow person, I guess. So, anyways, I have one Dollar Tree pick left. I didn't get any this year. These are all this from last year. I didn't get any. And I went to the Dollar Tree yesterday and they had nothing. They were, oh my God, it was so picked over. It was just terrible. But, it is the beginning of December, which seems ridiculous that they wouldn't have something there. But no, it was picked over so bad. They had a couple pieces that had some apples. I don't know, candied apples or something in them, but it wasn't for me. So anyways, I put the pine cone there with a regular pine tree piece, and like the fir type one, and I think it turned out looking really cute after I got the greenery on it. And you can't see, my lighting sucks. Sometimes it's the camera, sometimes it's the lighting, but yeah, that lighting does not do it justice, and I apologize, I really do. It looked better while I was making it, you could see. You could see it better. And you can't see it now at all. I tried to get it to pop in. I think it's my camera. Oh well, the bow looks cute. Yeah, and there's my wicker letters. So it's a give or take. I mean, I like it. Alright. So I have these two Dollar Tree crosses sitting here for months. Another thing that I bought, planning on using it at some point, and they just kind of got pushed around a little bit. So a couple weeks ago I set them on the table here, and I said I'm going to do something with those. And then I watched, I think it's Whiskey and Wit, where she had done a garland with these crosses, and I thought, well, how cute, that's really cute. So I decided to make one myself, and kind of the same, not exactly. Sorry about that, my phone. So anyways, this is latex paint, latex, black acrylic paint, and water. And I realized while I was editing the video that I didn't even stir this up. I just put the water in, just used it. It worked. But I had a little bit of trouble with this when I put the twine in. And you'll see I bumbled it. But I don't know if you can tell because it's in fast motion exactly what I did. But I wanted to try a new way of stringing it. So normally I would put a string in through the hole and, tie it into a loop to hang it with. And then, put that onto the other twine to hang it from the garland. But I saw someone, and I don't remember who it was, put the twine through the back side of whatever it was they were using, the back side of it, make a knot, and then put the twine back through the hole again. So all you have on the outside of that is the knot. And I wanted to do that, and I did it, and I messed it up. Oh boy, I was frustrating with that too, because I got my twine a little bit too long. So anyways, just black acrylic paint and water, so you can see that wood grain coming through. And I'm going to use my Cricut again, and I didn't have any trouble with these like I did with the other. So I'm going to make a tassel, which I am not good at. I think I've made 2 tassels before. So I wrapped it around about 20 times. Wrapped it around my fingers about 20 times. Cut it, and then cut off another piece to tie it with. Just tie it in a regular knot. Sometimes I have a little trouble with knots, not the knots, with tying. Now here, I don't know what the heck I was doing. So I'm going to cut this off and then hot glue just to keep that from coming apart. Okay, so my goal here was to have the string through it before I tied the top of the tassel. It's easier than trying to thread it through. But okay, so that's going to be on the end. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing too. It's only been 2 days ago since I did this. I don't know why I'm having trouble. But then I'm like, okay, so how do I knot this up? All you have to do then is, because your string is already through there, so all you have to do is tie it in a knot. The other end is the, you would do it the exact same way. Okay, so my Cricut was nice to me this time, so I used white vinyl, and I printed out "He is Born" for one of the crosses. And then the other one, the star and a manger. So there, he is born. And then you got the little you got the little star. And then we got the little manger. So one cross is going to get the manger and the star, and the other one's going to get he is born. One thing that I did not do is put Mod Podge over it after they were done. But I can still do it. I mean, they're mine. It's sitting right here. I'm probably going to give this away to someone I love. I'm not sure who. No, I'm just kidding. I do. I know who I'm going to give it to. So I will put some Mod Podge, some matte Mod Podge over it to make sure that my letters don't come off. And of course, this is an inside thing, so they're probably not going to go anywhere anyways. I rub them over, really good with my fingers when I'm done. So, okay, so the twine, I take a little piece of masking tape and I run it through the back side, out the front, and then I remembered to put some beads on first. I think I used 6. And the beads I got from Amazon. And of course they're just natural. You can paint them or whatever. So I get it down there, and then I want to tie a knot, which I do. I had way too much string, and it gets wrapped around the scissors, it gets wrapped around the cross. I did all kinds of, I was really frustrated then. But anyways, after I get the knot in it, then I pull it back through, only to realize that the knot is not big enough, and it pops right through. So I restring it through the back side, and this time I'm going to put 2 knots in it. So here I put 1 knot in, right up against the hole, and then there's another, and I end up messing this up right here again, and having to redo the knot. And there, I realized that I pulled the wrong string. So anyways, I get 2 knots in it, and then I put it back through the hole like so, and then it's just the knot holding it there. And I think that looks so cute, and it's always going to be facing outward. You don't have to worry about them getting twisted up and facing the wrong direction. So in through the back side, knot it, hold the knot there to the hole, and then another knot. That side was a lot easier. Then back through. Let me know what you think about that. I think it's really cool to do it that way. It might have been Jazz from, is it All Things Crafty? No, it's not. See, I just can't remember who it was I saw do that. I think it was Jazz, but I don't remember what her channel is called. DIY Home. I can't remember. She's got like 2 channels. I can't remember what the name of her channel is. And my glue after I cut it. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you'll consider hitting like and subscribe. I do need all the help I can get. YouTube judges you by how many likes and subscribes you have, basically by your subscriptions. I don't have many. I think I hit 1,000 views, 1,000 hours. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. And there it is. He is born. The reason for the season.